So if you guys don't know, YoungBoy did eventually drop a song with Chief Keef, and there's a video of them in the studio together. And if anyone follows me, remember when I went to the tour, me and YoungBoy were backstage. He says, "Act, I'm gonna play you some music," and he plays my whole fucking album. I was like, this is crazy. But he plays me a song, and he plays me a song with Keef.
Chief Keef just shook the whole board up. Word is he linked with NBA YoungBoy, someone O Block circles consider a major rival, and now people close to his old side are feeling betrayed. Some OTF voices online are acting like they don't rock with Sosa anymore, and the tension is rising fast.
This is footage of Chief Keef and YoungBoy in the studio together making a hit song. Ain't gonna lie, bro, this is legendary, bro.
But here's the twist. This fallout didn't start yesterday. Keef has reportedly been distant from O Block for years, and this latest move just reopened old wounds. Once upon a time, Chief Keef was the face of O Block, the drill star who helped put Chicago on the global map. But behind the fame, cracks were forming. That link-up didn't create the issue. It exposed years of quiet frustration that had been building in the background. To really get how Sosa went from hometown hero to outsider, you have to spin it back to the early 2000s. Before the fame, he was just Keith Cozart from Parkway Gardens, known to many as O Block. Back then, he was locked in with names like King Von, Boss Top, and T-Roy. These weren't industry friends. These were day one connections built in a rough environment where loyalty meant everything. Keef was already playing with music, freestyling on a karaoke machine, sharpening his sound while others were building reputations in the streets. Boss Top carried himself like a leader. King Von was already getting attention for how he moved. T-Roy was respected heavy in the area. This was before record deals, before chains, before cameras, just young guys trying to survive tough circumstances. They stood by each other through street conflicts, police pressure, and non-stop chaos. If one got locked up, they'd all chip in what they could. If someone needed backup, the crew showed up. Keef and King Von especially had a tight bond. They were around each other constantly, moving wild and living fast, doing things that definitely wouldn't fly on camera.
So if you guys don't know, YoungBoy did eventually drop a song with Chief Keef, and there's a video of them in the studio together. And if anyone follows me, remember when I went to the tour, me and YoungBoy were backstage. He says, "Act, I'm gonna play you some music," and he plays my whole fucking album. I was like, this is crazy. But he plays me a song, and he plays me a song with Keef. Ironically, some people had issue with it. They're like, yo, hold on now. Chief Keef is from Chicago. He's from, notably, O Block. Also, NBA YoungBoy, his partner is Lil Tim, King Von. King Von is from O Block. Not only is King Von from O Block, Chief Keef and Lil Durk are seen as like pretty much pioneers, or one of the early pioneers in.
That brotherhood felt solid. Then 2012 hit, and everything changed. When Keef dropped I Don't Like, it didn't just trend, it shifted the culture. The visuals exploded online. Kanye West jumped on the remix. Major labels started circling a teenager from Chicago like sharks in a frenzy. When that Interscope deal reportedly landed for millions, Keef's life flipped overnight. Here's where people say the distance started. Instead of staying planted in Chicago, Sosa moved to Los Angeles. From a business angle, that made sense. Safer environment, better opportunities, less street noise. But back home, expectations were different. In that world, when one person wins, the whole crew expects to level up too. Instead of relocating the entire O Block circle, Keef reportedly kept it tight with family, his cousin Tato and Ball Out from Glo Gang. From a trust standpoint, that move was logical. Blood is blood. But to some people back home, it felt like he chose relatives over the block that helped shape him. The talk around O Block started shifting. The vibe wasn't the same. Some allegedly believed Keef should have put them on payroll, helped secure deals, or at least brought them into the LA mix. Meanwhile, Sosa appeared focused on separating himself from street energy altogether. He had a massive contract. Any wrong move could have cost everything.
Founders of that Chicago drill post-2010 sound. They have been seen as competitors, they've been seen as friends, they've been seen as allies. They're both black disciples. So people said, hey, what the fuck is going on here? If Lil Durk lost his mans, King Von, to the friend or the partner of NBA YoungBoy, Lil Durk is sitting in jail potentially because of for hire trying to get back on NBA YoungBoy's conglomerate, Quando Rondo, but got Lil Pop. Why would Keef if he's cool with Durk and also just out of Chicago solidarity, be with NBA YoungBoy in the studio? Why would he do that? A lot of people in Chicago.
Then came the situation that reportedly changed everything. T-Roy got locked up on a serious case and needed around $25,000 for bond. The crew hustled hard trying to gather the money. After weeks of grinding and making risky moves, they reportedly came up about $7,000 short. That's when they reached out to Chief Keef. From their point of view, that amount was small compared to what he was making. They believed this was loyalty time. At first, Keef allegedly said he'd take care of it. That probably gave everyone hope that the bond would be handled and things were still solid. But then, according to people close to the situation, communication slowed down. Calls weren't answered. Messages went quiet. Meanwhile, social media showed Sosa living large, luxury cars, jewelry, even posting about buying a four-wheeler for $10,000, which was more than what was needed to close the gap. That contrast didn't sit right with some back home. From their perspective, it felt like abandonment. From Keef's side, it may have been about protecting his future and avoiding legal entanglements. Two different mindsets clashing hard. Emotions reportedly ran high. Conversations got tense. Trust started cracking. Eventually, certain members like Boss Top and King Von allegedly felt forced to handle things their own way. Instead of waiting on Sosa, they considered making a move that would permanently damage their relationship. And once thoughts like that enter the picture, loyalty turns complicated real fast. These weren't strangers pulling up. These were people he grew up with. People who knew his routine, his address, how he moved day to day. Reports say they ran into the place Keef was renting with his manager, and once inside, it turned into total chaos. Jewelry gone, clothes gone, sneakers gone, even small personal items were taken. Nothing was off limits. The moment that really shook everything, Boss Top allegedly taking Keef's chain straight off his neck during the situation. That wasn't just about valuables, that was a message. In street culture, snatching someone's chain is symbolic. It's about power, about saying, you're not the leader anymore. That kind of move hits deeper than money ever could. And then things escalated even more. During the break-in, shots were reportedly fired and someone connected to Keef was hit. Details are still unclear and accounts vary, but the fact that it reached that level shows how serious it became. This wasn't petty drama anymore. It was a confrontation that could have ended in a permanent loss. Afterward, the money taken was allegedly used to help bond T-Roy out. From their perspective, they achieved their mission. They got their guy home. But the relationship with Keef, that was finished for good. There's no bouncing back after something like that. Keef's former manager reportedly contacted authorities during the chaos, but when police showed up, nobody cooperated. Street code is street code. Silence doesn't mean peace, though. Sosa reportedly knew exactly who crossed that line, and that type of betrayal doesn't get forgotten. Now this is where the story gets complicated. There have been long-standing rumors tied to the passing of Blood Money, whose real name was Marcello Holmes, Chief Keef's cousin and affiliate. He lost his life in 2014 during Chicago's ongoing street conflicts. Officially, it was part of the wider violence happening at the time. But in the streets, people speculated about deeper motives. King Von's name has been mentioned in conversations over the years, not as a confirmed fact, but as part of theories circulating in the community. Some believe it may have been retaliation over separate issues. Others think it could have been tied to tensions between Keef and O Block. None of that has been proven, but the rumors never really faded. What added fuel to the speculation were social media posts made around that time. Von once posted, "I'm King Von from O Block, I run it," echoing a lyric connected to Blood Money's music. Some interpreted that as dominance talk. Others think people read too much into it. Timing made everything look suspicious, especially with other events happening around the same period. J Hood, who has spoken publicly about Chicago street dynamics, suggested that during that era, Von and T-Roy often moved under Boss Top's direction. If Boss Top had issues with Keef, some believe those close to him would have backed his stance. Again, that's theory, not court-proven fact, but it shows how layered this conflict was. Fast forward to November 2020, when King Von lost his life in Atlanta. One thing people couldn't ignore was Chief Keef's silence. No tribute post, no RIP message, no public acknowledgement. In hip-hop culture, especially in Chicago, showing respect publicly is common when someone from your past passes away. Keef chose not to say anything, and that spoke loud. Some saw it as cold, others saw it as closure. If relationships had already been damaged beyond repair, maybe silence was his way of drawing a final line. Von had mentioned in interviews that they recorded music together years back, but those tracks were never released. That alone showed how deep the divide had grown. When artists like Lil Durk and Polo G shared tributes, Keef stayed quiet. It wasn't loud, but it was clear. Whatever bond existed in their youth had been broken long before. Then came 2024, and Sosa shocked everybody again. He popped up in the studio with NBA YoungBoy. For those who don't follow the politics, that wasn't random. YoungBoy has long-running tension with Lil Durk and OTF, so seeing Keef working comfortably with him felt like a direct statement. The timing of that studio link-up? Strategic. For years, Keef stayed quiet while Lil Durk and NBA YoungBoy went back and forth. He didn't publicly pick sides. He moved neutral, low-key, out the way. But this time, he stepped directly into it. And it wasn't on Chicago's side. Once the footage of Keef and YoungBoy vibing in the studio hit the internet, reactions exploded. OTF members and O Block affiliates made it clear they weren't feeling it. The energy online shifted fast. The message coming from that side sounded like, if you're rocking with YoungBoy, you're not rocking with us. No gray area. Some voices connected to OTF hinted that Keef had crossed a line that couldn't be walked back. And this wasn't just random fans talking. People familiar with the history were speaking like this was the final straw. After years of quiet tension, everything went public. But here's the key part. It wasn't only about music. To them, this collaboration symbolized something deeper. YoungBoy has traded DISS records with Durk. There's been real tension between crews. So in their eyes, Keef wasn't just making songs, he was aligning with someone they view as opposition. Now flip the camera to Glo Gang. They didn't seem bothered at all. Members from Keef's side responded online with a whole different tone. The vibe was basically, we're good over here. One affiliate brushed off OTF completely, suggesting they focus on their own moves. No fear, no panic, just confidence. Another Glo Gang member even laughed at the backlash, treating the outrage like entertainment. That probably irritated the other side even more. Instead of defending themselves seriously, they looked unbothered, like this was just business. And speaking of business, one Glo affiliate hinted that Keef and YoungBoy didn't just cook up one track. Allegedly, multiple songs are already recorded. That's not a random collab. That's a potential partnership. If true, that means this move wasn't emotional. It was calculated. From Glo Gang's angle, this isn't betrayal. It's strategy. They've been building independently for years without Chicago's approval. Different lanes, different markets, different money. Linking with YoungBoy could open doors far beyond hometown politics. Then things got even more intense when Lil Tim, the man responsible for the incident that led to King Von losing his life in Atlanta, reacted online. Tim appeared to co-sign Keef's move. That added another layer to the situation. For someone tied to that chapter to publicly support Keef, that's bound to spark reactions. Some people think Tim was just stirring drama. Others believe he might see logic in Keef's decision. There's no confirmed backstory there, just interpretations. But when someone connected to such a sensitive moment weighs in, it magnifies everything. At the core of this, it's not just about songs. It's about loyalty, perception, and long memories. From Keef's perspective, he might feel he was crossed first. Robbed, disrespected, cut off. From O Block's side, they might feel he left them behind once success hit. The reality? It's probably layered. Fame changes dynamics. Expectations clash with reality. Business decisions don't always match street codes. And once trust cracks, even time doesn't always fix it. What makes this whole situation risky is simple. Both sides feel right. Keef likely feels he was crossed first, so in his mind, he's just moving accordingly. O Block probably feels he left them hanging first, so they see their reaction as justified. When nobody feels wrong, conflict doesn't cool down. It heats up. Chief Keef is widely viewed as the architect of drill. The sound, the style, the energy, he helped shape it. So when someone with that level of influence links up with an artist seen as opposition to Chicago's current power circle, that shifts the culture in a major way. It's not just a song, it's symbolism. From YoungBoy's perspective, having a drill pioneer beside him adds weight to his stance in his issues with Lil Durk and OTF. It strengthens his image. That's a strategic win whether people like it or not. For other Chicago artists, it creates pressure. Do they honor Keef's legacy, or do they stand with their present alliances? Most will probably choose loyalty to their immediate circle. That's how street codes usually work. The deeper concern is that this isn't just online talk. Chicago's drill scene has history. When pride, respect, and old wounds collide, things can spiral fast. And now you've got multiple layers overlapping. Keef versus O Block, Durk versus YoungBoy, long-standing city tensions. When conflicts connect like that, emotions amplify. Keef has been living in LA for years, operating independently, surrounded by security and distance. From the outside, it looks like he's decided to move without worrying about hometown approval. Whether that's freedom or defiance depends on who you ask. At the core, this feels like the final split. Years of tension finally spilling over. Fans are divided. Artists are choosing sides. Every new track, every post, every public move will get dissected for hidden meaning. The drill scene won't look the same after this. The figure once crowned as O Block's biggest star is now seen by some as aligned elsewhere. And in a culture where loyalty is everything, that kind of shift changes the entire atmosphere. Now the big question, does this stay competitive in music, or does pride push it further? History shows that when street politics mix with fame and ego, situations can escalate beyond what anyone planned. And with more music reportedly on the way, this chapter is far from closed. And looking at everything that's happened over the years, a reunion feels unlikely. Too many betrayals, too many public shots, too much pride on both sides. When history runs this deep, people don't just shake hands and move on. Every move now feels calculated, and every response feels personal. Chief Keef didn't just drop a song. He sparked a chain reaction that's been building for almost a decade. The tension was already there. The link-up just made it official. And in a city where reputation and loyalty carry serious weight, decisions like this don't get ignored. These kinds of conflicts don't just disappear. They shape careers, they shift alliances, they rewrite history. Sometimes they cool down over time, and sometimes they stretch on for years. Right now, it feels like we're only at the beginning of the next chapter. The real question is how far this goes. Does it stay competitive through music, or does pride keep pushing it further? With so many layers involved, old wounds, new alliances, industry power plays, this situation isn't slowing down anytime soon. We'll be watching every twist, every studio session, every subliminal post, and every reaction that follows. Because one thing is clear, this story isn't finished yet. If you made it this far, tap that like button, share this video, and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. And make sure you check out the next video popping up on your screen right now for even more celebrity drama and behind-the-scenes stories. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Catch you on the next one.